Nick Walker announces he's winning the 2024 Mr Olympia. IFBB Pro Natural Mr Olympia to be added. Arnold's son getting bigger. Will he compete? All that, plus much more. What's up, desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another bodybuilding news video. And let's kick it off with the rumors around Urs Kalaczynski being out of the 2024 Classic Physique Arnold Classic. And it seems like those rumors are false. And it all came from a show that I was actually on, Heavy Muscle Radio on RX Muscle. The link to the full episode is in the description below, where Chris Aceto said this on there, which sparked the rumors.
He should, is Urs doing it too, right?
No, Urs not doing it.
Oh, so this should be a cakewalk for Ramon.
So I messaged Dave Palumbo and said, hey Dave, well I actually called him. And I said, Dave, was what Chris said on the radio, did he have any inside knowledge or anything like that? And he said, I'm not sure. He said, I'm going to message Chris now and I'll ask him. And he let me know straight away. But if I looked a little bit closer on this post, you can see Urs Kalaczynski, aka the Miracle Bear as he's known on IG, says, this is bullshit. Bear is coming. So Urs is not out of a 2024 Arnold Classic. He is in, which is great news. I got concerned. I was like, we don't want to see anyone else out of the Arnold Classic. And perhaps, hopefully, we get to see the likes of Rubiel Mosquera, Hardy Troop, and all these other guys in the open class as well. Now, we'll stay with the classic physique at the 2024 Arnold Classic with Wesley Vissers posting up this physique update, looking crazy impressive. It looks like Wesley is taking advantage of that weight cap going up as well. And you can see his back double bicep looks insane. He looks in great condition already. It looks like he's just added muscle to his physique. So perhaps he was actually held back a little bit by that weight cap previously, and he's now able to grow into the classic physique a little bit more, which I hope makes Wesley's physique even more aesthetic, because it seems like as he's added more muscle to his physique, he hasn't lost any of the lines whatsoever. I think just overall his aesthetics has actually improved with the actual added muscle, and I think that this weight cap is definitely going to help Wesley Vissers, and he's looking great at this point of his prep, and I'm excited to see if he's able to move up and knock off any of those top guys like a Breon Ansley, a Terrence Ruffin, Urs, anyone like that, whether Wesley can get to that level. And one guy who I think is also in contention to do that as well is Michael Dboul, who was really capped at that weight. And I was even thinking a couple of years ago, how's this guy going to get better if he's already at the weight, he's already shredded, but he's just added quality to his physique in that period of time and has gotten better, but he was still very limited. Now he's looking bigger. He's also taking advantage of that weight cap being increased, and yeah, just very impressive update there from Michael Dboul, and as we know, he always gets in crazy shape. Now let's move to the open class, and we have an update here from Rafael Brandao, or Rafael Brandao, however you pronounce his name. Looking pretty damn good here at 5 weeks out of the Arnold Classic. I thought it was actually 4 weeks out. I got a little concerned. I was like, oh, is he in good enough shape? Because he's known for coming in great condition, especially the last few times. And I thought, if he does go for that approach where he just brings in more size, he's fuller and maybe not quite as sharp, maybe he could get penalized for that. But I think that this being posted by Flex Lewis saying sneak peek Rafael Brandao taken 9 days ago, he won't post it, so I will. Coach Neil Hill arrives in Brazil soon, and then it's all out suffering until the finish line, so they're going to push him hard till the end. And this wasn't just posted by Flex Lewis too, it was posted a couple of days ago, so we're talking almost 2 weeks ago this physique update was from, and Rafael looks absolutely insane, and Flex also says he may be in Brazil as well, so that'll be good for those Brazilian fans. Now here's a comparison photo I saw posted up as well, and you can see Rafael Brandao on the left in 2022, that was the last time he competed, and then in 2024, and you can see there's a noticeable size difference to Rafael. It's not scaled perfectly, this picture. I think the one on the right scaled a little bit bigger, but even still shrink it down a little bit, and that physique is much more complete, much more filled out as well. And I think he's one of the most aesthetic guys in the open. He doesn't look like he's lost his waist whatsoever. He's got the exact same lines, just with more muscle, and he's like Wesley Vissers. his aesthetics only get better as he adds more size. So cannot wait to see Rafael Brandao, and I think he's sort of one of the dark horses in this lineup as well. And speaking of horses and his fellow countryman, HorseMD, this was one from a few days ago, so this has already been shared quite a bit, but many people are putting him up against Rafael Brandao and saying, who's going to win this between these two Brazilians? Now, I have my opinion on that, but if you guys want to see an episode of Who Wins, where I place these guys side by side and go pose for pose and break it down, let me know in the comments below. And another guy in that open is Antoine Vaillant. I believe this guy is one of the most underrated IFBB pro bodybuilders today because he is much taller as well. So I think he looks way bigger once he's on stage. He brings great conditioning. He lacks a little bit in the back. Is he as thick as some of these other guys, from the side? Maybe not, but he has a great hamstring drop, I believe. He's got really good legs, brings great condition, and he's got quite a presence on stage as well, and he's got great posing. So I'm a big fan of Antoine. These are all his latest updates, and yeah, he definitely does have a very, very good leg from the side, and from the side, he's definitely looking much improved. It's pretty much just his chest and his back, which aren't quite as dominant as all his other body parts, but he's looking really, really damn good at this point of the prep, and I think he'll actually shock a few people as well. And on to another guy who I think is going to shock some people in James Hollingshead, the Shed, working with Mr Olympia. Obviously, it's working very well for him. I think this is going to be the best James Hollingshead either of all time or the best since he won the British Grand Prix and did those shows. It's going to be one or the other. I don't see James being worse than any other packages outside of that because he looks so damn good right now. He's looking really, really dense, and hopefully that freak factor, and he's full enough, and that shows up on stage. And I think working with Mr Olympia, I think he definitely will be full enough. He looks like he's definitely going to be hard enough. I think for James, when he's had issues is when he's sort of over dieted or something like that, where I think he's well aware of that now. He's made those mistakes before, and I think he's back with a vengeance, and you can see the conditioning already at this point. So very, very excited for James Hollingshead. And another guy, honestly, it's going to be hard to predict this Arnold Classic once I put my final predictions all together, but Justin Rodriguez is looking really good. He's looking like he's got some of that fullness back that he maybe lost. The leg from the side is insane. Just really, really impressed with how much he's improved. I think the last times he competed, he was burnt out or didn't give himself enough time to come back at his best. He needed this time away from the stage, and I think it's going to do him a world of good. And it's not like it's been that long either. I just think that he was competing back-to-back, got burnt out, his physique was tired. His physique is looking a lot fresher now, and I think we're going to see one of the better packages that Justin Rodriguez can bring to the stage. Can he get back to where he was previously, where he was top 10 in the Olympia? I'm not sure. I mean, he even placed, I think, 4th in the Arnold Classic, but this is, I think, a very, very good version that we're going to see on stage. And I sound like a broken record, but this update here from Shaaban. Now, I know Shaaban either had herniated discs or bulging discs in his back, and I know what that's all about, and that is incredibly painful, but he's probably rehabbed it a lot more diligent than I actually have, and he's looking ridiculous. Like, could this be a version of Shaaban? We haven't seen him on stage for a little bit, that just freaks everyone out, because I look at this photo, as hilarious as it is with his face moving around, and I'm just like, this is crazy. This is a crazy looking physique. Will it all come together on stage? Will he have the separation necessary in certain body parts to, place really high and be sort of the best guy, maybe outside of Samson and these guys? I don't know. I just look at this picture and I'm sort of blown away, to be honest. And if that's really what he looks like, then I think he's going to do incredibly well. Because if you told me that was top 5 in the Olympia, and that's his update going into it, and I didn't know Shaaban, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, we've got an update here, a little bit of a different one here from Joseph Benya. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, and he's obviously in the bodybuilding lifestyle. He's in a fitness lifestyle. He was on Dancing with the Stars. He's really sort of creating more of a profile for himself, but he still loves bodybuilding. Still trains out there in Venice in Golds, and I actually just saw he did an interview with Leo, who's got his own channel and a new podcast as well. So once that interview's up, I'll mention it too, because I'm sure there'll be something out of that discussing bodybuilding where we'll be able to report on it, because everyone's interested in what Arnold Schwarzenegger's son's doing. And I have a feeling with all this posing and stuff that he does, he may go into like a natural show or something like that, and who knows, maybe he'll hit the source and we'll be able to see a fully jacked Arnold son on stage at some point. But if I was him, honestly, I wouldn't do it, because I think he's got the world at his fingertips in terms of, he's got the look, Arnold's his dad, he's getting into acting, I think. I mean, yeah, I think he's going to be very successful no matter what he does, and probably not wise to jump into bodybuilding if you want to be mainstream successful at this point for him. But anyway, let's get on to Nick Walker, his big announcement that he's doing the New York Pro. You could tell it before you watch the video. He says game time, New York Pro. But let's watch the video and see what he says about not being in the Arnold and all that sort of stuff.
Nick Walker's game plan, competing wise. Is he low key jumping into the Arnold? Is he getting an invite? What's going on? Well, there is no Arnold for me. That's just too soon. It's almost 4 weeks out. It's just, I don't feel ready enough for that. And there is no invite. And honestly, I'd rather earn my qualification,
So Nick says, and there is no invite. And he said, and honestly, I'd rather earn my qualification. So was there an application for the invite? Was he told by the Mr. Olympia? Nick, I've got so many questions. I will reach out to you and ask regardless, most likely. But obviously that's your prerogative whether you disclose that information. But I think it's great that Nick is actually choosing to qualify himself for this Mr. Olympia, because there was no guarantee Nick was going to be top 3 at last year's Mr. Olympia, and I can understand the argument either way in terms of grant him the invite and not. I was on the side of not because I don't like Nick. I think Nick's awesome, but I just think that they were handed out a little bit too easily in the past, and I think they've pulled that back at least a little bit. There are circumstances where I like it, definitely, like Derek getting the invite because he won the 212 Olympia, and who didn't want to see him jump into the Open? And, he was like, I might not make weight. Now, that is his own problem, obviously, but I did like the fact that he got that invite, because I think if you're a Mr. Olympia and you're winning and people see potential of you doing well in the Open, give him the invite, because otherwise he's going to be more tempted to stay in 212. And I'm so glad he didn't go back and do a 212 in 2022, and he did the Open, play second, and made the Open so much more exciting. Had he been in the 212, it probably would have been an easy win in the 212. I mean, not easy, but second in the Open Olympia. Obviously he's not going to be as big, whatever. Let's move on. Let's listen to the rest of what Nick had to say.
I'm okay with that. I'd rather earn my qualification, and once I earn that qualification, I am going to win and come back strong, better than what I was going to be last year, and get the Mr. Olympia title. That's how this is going to go.
And then Nick goes on to talk about the New York Pro and holds up a ring and says he's coming back, and 2 of these look better than 1. It was actually really, really cool. Shout out to Nick for doing that, because it was awesome. But the New York Pro is going to be stacked. Stacked. Let me pull up the lineup, or at least some of the names that are being discussed right now. You've got Nick Walker, obviously, in the lineup now. You've got Tony O'Burton. You've got Stuart Sutherland. You've got Quentin Araya. Carlos Thomas Jr. said he might be gunning for that one. Martin Fitzwater said probably do that one. There's a bunch of other names too I'm literally just missing off the top of my head. I think we might even see Ron Gordon in that one as well. There are a lot of really good names. This top 10 is going to be stacked. So you guys better stay tuned to Desktop Bodybuilding, because I'll be trying to cover all these shows as the year goes on, doing my lives for them and everything. But Nick's made this show, basically a no qualifier. Well, for everyone else in the lineup, because only the winner gets a qualification. So that's sort of rough for anyone doing the New York Pro, especially as it's been a slightly weaker show, I'd say, on average over the past few years. But shout out to Nick for doing it. I appreciate that he's not getting the invite, and I think he wants to go the old school way and get that qualification and get in there. Now, this story is really interesting. So this was Sandy Williamson, who's in with the IFBB and NPC, and she does a lot of posing seminars. She is a head judge, does a lot of the women's side of the sport, and was actually a bodybuilder herself, a female bodybuilder back in the day. Now, she was interviewed by Flex Lewis on his Out of the Lair, or Straight Out of the Lair podcast, which is a great podcast. I suggest everyone go and check it out. The link to this full episode is in the description below as well. But they talked about natural pro bodybuilding and natural amateur bodybuilding inside the IFBB Pro League. And I'm sort of questioning what might actually come of it. So I'm sort of asking the question, what's going to come of this? Is this going to be a huge thing? Are we going to see a natural Mr. Olympia. Let's listen to what Sandy Williamson had to say on the Straight Out of Lair podcast.
One of the biggest things for 2024, now I was going to say almost 2023 again, 2024 though, is there's going to be a lot more drug tested and natural shows in the NPC.
Now, we've known obviously there's all those natural federations out there. I know they were very popular here in Australia. Now they're putting it inside the IFBB Pro League. Is this going to get hugely popular and overtake all the other natural federations? I can see something like that happening, or at least matching them and maybe creating bigger natural pro league, because the other pro leagues out there for the natural federations, I mean, I don't follow that side of it anymore, but they're obviously doing nothing in terms of media coverage or exposure that the IFBB Pro League does. So if they can bring this natural stuff, especially with so many young people getting into the sport, with the likes of Sam Sulek, Chris Bumstead, all those guys getting such a young demographic into it, some of these guys aren't going to want to do PEDs, and a large majority won't as well. So this natural side could actually get really popular, and if it was inside the IFBB Pro League, and it was, you know, plenty of photos, we can get enough exposure for these shows, maybe get Gilco and all those guys out to these contests, then it can be covered by channels like myself. And it'd be pretty interesting, especially if they made a natural Mr. Olympia. But let's listen on to this.
And now the Ben Weider natural is a pro qualifier. And they also have the pro component of it, though, that the pros can come and compete there. It's drug tested, and the winners get, like I said, a invite to the Olympia.
Now, they've had this Ben Weider show on, which is a natural pro contest. I didn't hear hardly anything out of a contest. I was sort of paying attention to when the contest was going to be, and then it seems like it just went and gone. And I didn't hear who won it or anything like that. So it might just be slipping my mind, but there wasn't enough exposure on it. Now, she was saying that they get a qualification for the Mr. Olympia. So did the person who got the qualification last year, was the qualification not there? Like, did they not compete in the Olympia? Because obviously being a natural competitor, it's going to be very, very hard, and it's going to look very, very obvious on the Open Mr. Olympia stage. But if that's a factor this year, we might see another competitor on stage, but a natural competitor in the Open Mr. Olympia, which is incredibly interesting.
But Tyler's already looking at, because again, I tell athletes all the time, if the demand is there, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so he's already looking at 2025 to have some, natural pro shows, you know what I mean? Because I think, and he does too, obviously, that the demand is going to be there.
Now, I believe, I could be wrong on this, the Ben Weider show is already a natural pro show, but he's looking at 2025 and bringing in more of these natural pro shows. So if there's going to be any division added outside of any of the divisions that are already at the Olympia, I think it's going to be natural Mr. Olympia. I honestly do. Or would it be held completely separate and we have a natural Mr. Olympia contest, a standalone contest where we have all the divisions there, and it's the natural Mr. Olympia? I don't know. I think so much more can be done with this rather than if they just put just a couple of natural pro shows, because everyone wants to get to a pinnacle of it. So there has to be a top contest, and to be honest, why not use the Olympia name? I'm sure Jake Wood would be all for it, and they've got to look at the younger demographic, and a lot of them are probably going to be interested in the natural side of it. Now, how ethical can it be? There will be testing, obviously, by the sounds of it. How much could people get away with? I mean, that's always going to be the question in natural bodybuilding, and that's why some people don't like it near as much. If we could have a guarantee and we just knew for a fact that these guys were 100% natural, then it's fair game. But could it be a thing where guys that are former pros decide to come off things, and a lot of the rules in these federations currently now says you have to be clean for 5 years or whatever, but they're not going to register anything in your blood. So could someone go and do it after 2 years of being retired from being a fully juicing IFBB pro bodybuilder, and then go and jump in it? And everyone's like, hold on, we saw you 2 years ago, instead of the 5 years or 3 years or whatever rule they have on it. I don't know. I don't know what the rules is. I don't know what I'd be okay with. You guys can let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this? Would you like to see a natural Mr. Olympia? And if you were the IFBB Pro League, what would you do? Also, let me know what you thought on all these topics in the comments below. What do you think about Nick Walker doing the New York Pro? Just let me know your thoughts on everything. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this one. If you did enjoy it, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe, and click the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills, here at Desktop Bodybuilding, at just a little over 4 weeks out of that 2024 Arnold Classic, where all your coverage will be right here on Desktop Bodybuilding. So for myself, Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are